in Ode to My Van by Natalie and Company. I was 19, and in the usual rapid falling apart of drug-addled teens, my friend group disintegrated, and I'd recently been kicked out of my first apartment ever. All I wanted was to run away. I was embarrassed, lost, and had a feeling I would be returning to my parents with my tail between my legs very soon. I drove by him on the side of the road on the way to Thanksgiving dinner, a for sale sign in his rear window. The water was eating through the floor, almost entirely in some places, and you could hear the wind blow through him. This 1998 van had spent 20 years working, and it was obviously begging for retirement. I knew before I even finished driving him home from purchasing that his name was Jimi. I don't know how I knew. I couldn't begin to tell you. But sure as hell, that van could never have had any other name. And so, Jimi rolled into my life. I remember getting the windows sealed at a shop, returning to pick him up to listen to stories from the workers about how they could swear the van was haunted. After the 6 years that we spent together, I think Jimi just had a little more life in him than the average car. Chitty chitty bang bang coded, if you will. I had given this retired work van a new lease on life, and every improvement, every step towards completion that we made together, he felt happier and happier to me. And I felt happier and happier too. To have this thing so precious to me, completely untouched and untainted by the soul-deep exhaustion and hurt of my previous years. Something wholly mine, something unique to my life, something that made me feel special and important at one of the lowest periods. He stayed mine until the very end, even once I found a boyfriend who loved Jimi as much as I did. I remember often driving to the grocery store in the van, getting out and watching the glances of the people around me as this tiny, dyed redhead girl got out of the loud, lumbering van. I felt cool and mysterious. I felt independent and important. For however brief those moments were, they helped. Main character syndrome was definitely a side effect of this van project. But it helped. It carried my growing body. It soothed my torn soul, comforted my youthful agony, embraced my childlike rage. Moving from being a kid to an adult is quite the roller coaster of a ride, if you would believe. Good thing my roller coaster car was a 1-ton green fan made entirely of steel. One time, I took the van to Oregon for its first music festival. Unfortunately, the first night of the camping festival, we lost the keys inside the venue. I remembered my friend giving me his blanket and a spot in his tent, and he used his rainfly that wasn't put up to keep him warm through the night. Jimi barely made the 48-hour round trip to Michigan, to a festival I had been promising to take him to since I had purchased him years ago. The front brakes giving out a mere 80 miles from home. There were trips to Antelope Island, a salt flats, and into every patch of forest reachable within 3 hours. He camped in a field of bison and only got stuck in the mud one single time. He spent the years dressed in yellow sunflower window covers and mini rubber ducks on the dashboard. So many small moments that shine inside of me like stars in the sky. So many pictures of car parts and potential fluid leaks that still sit in my Google Drive. And just so many driving videos. And then COVID hit, and suddenly in the middle of the summer, the city turned off drinking fountains. Stores required masks, and tons of people lost their access to fresh water. We felt isolated, but the unsheltered population in our city were stranded. Jimi held me and my best friend in a very gentle embrace throughout the turmoil that was the pandemic. He somehow made it better, even though we couldn't go anywhere in him. He didn't care. He just liked being involved, whether it was a drive to the grocery store or a delivery of supplies to our homeless neighbors. Jimi never had a garage, so I like to think he cared for these types of people as well. The first time Valentine and I ever hung out was in the van. We worked at the liquor store together, and we would go on drives after work, testing the waters to see if there was something to be found between us. When we found that something, we spent hours, days, nights in the van, cuddling on a makeshift bed of blankets. We truly found love on the road with Jimi. We did magazine deliveries and drove the 20-minute daily commute to my first ever office job for years together. We helped so many people move and only ever parallel parked together once. He carried me through an eating disorder, through panic attacks, and life changes galore. We canceled plans and created plans together constantly. He went to Oregon, to southern Utah, to Colorado, to Oregon again, and even all the way to Michigan, barely. Time passed and Jimi hung around. Ever reliable, even more so than any of the other 4 cars that I've ever owned. Jimi brought me friends. Jimi brought me family. People wanted to help me now that I actually had a goal that I really wanted to achieve, instead of the lost wanderings of my previous years. This van allowed me to physically manifest the complexities of my inner world by simply enjoying my proximity for so long. Sometimes, the objects you have in your life are pumped so full of your own heart and soul, they become almost alive. So Jimi, this is for you. You taught me determination when every project I set out on ended up requiring a plan B, and then a plan C, and then a plan D, and sometimes E. You taught me patience, that not even running away is simple. Nothing was as simple as I originally believed it to be. You taught me gentleness when you took care of me at moments I could not even truly take care of myself. You gave me a space to be. You helped me to learn my mistakes without fear. You brought me strength to be better, to do better, for everyone around me. You filled my heart with a joy that was so thoroughly my own. But most importantly, you taught me that I didn't want to run away. I just wanted to be free. And with your company, I have learned that freedom was always mine to build. So goodbye to one of my truest friends. I found you a new owner who I believe will take care of you in your retired state with as much love as I did. At least, I can hope, right? Continue to believe that when the engine finally stops, when the rust finally takes over and Jimi the van huffs his last breath, it will remember the love I gave to it just as much as any person. So I can continue to believe that Jimi loved me as much as I loved him. Because damn, did I love that silly little van.